Hello, sweet friends. This is Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. It has been such a long time since I've actually done a video, let alone a process video. And I've been wanting to do this particular layout for a while now. And it's going to be a layout that's kind of a mishmash. It is some photos from 2012 and then a story from 2018 and some ephemera and a lot of trash. So I'm in my little journal and I'm flipping through here trying to find a good place, and I'm running out of room. There's very few pages that are blank, and so I'm just kind of playing around with what I have available. I really kind of wanted a pocket because there's a lot of stuff that I want to put on this layout. So I spend quite a bit of time thumbing through the pages trying to find just the right page. And as it turns out, the layout that I end up and do takes 4 like pages, like fold outs and stuff. So I actually take up quite a bit of room. So I settle on this right here because I like how that right hand side folds out, and I think I can take a card that one of my students made me, and because that's actually going to tell the story. So that's going to be like my main focus here is the card from my student. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the right hand side, and I'm just gluing down the back so that I can still open it. And then I'm just going to use some washi tape, and I like the washi tape that I'm using just because of the color, because this is all about the ocean. It's all about water. It's all about blues and greens and the environment. So I'm just using that washi tape to kind of secure it a little bit, but I also like to bring those colors in. So now I'm pulling out some paper from the drawer that I have right next to me, and these are just scraps of wrapping paper from my wrapping paper kits that I have in my Etsy shop. These are just the offcuts, and then some book pages. So I love using book pages because a lot of times the text will actually be my journaling, and I love using these old books that I call cutters. They're books where they've pretty well had, a past life that has used them quite a bit. They might have tears in them, or scribbles, or wrinkled and ripped pages. And so these guys are all missing pages. So I'm perfectly fine with using them, because what else are you going to do with them? A lot of people just throw them away. And so I like to use these guys for whenever I'm doing journaling as background pages, or as text, or, as part of my story. And so I have this one right here that I'm going to pull. I like it was Toodle, let's see, is that Toodle the tugboat? And that was some text that went along with that page. And so I'm going to use that text. And I'm going to put some wrapping paper down. And the wrapping paper in my mind, I'm thinking, is going to be waves. Because like I said, this is going to be about the ocean and about water and things like that. So I'm just using the wrapping paper to cut some very loose interpretation of what I believe waves to look like. I love using wrapping paper. Wrapping paper is one of my favorite, wrapping paper and book pages are one of my favorite journaling supplies. Wrapping paper I love because it is so pliable, it is so thin, and just especially if you get the old stuff, just the old colors, the old designs, the way the print was made back then, where everything wasn't digitized and perfect, and sometimes they're offset a bit, and sometimes the colors don't match up with the design quite perfectly. And there's just something about it. I love it. I think I've told you guys before, my ultimate dream would be to go to the Hallmark headquarters, because we have Hallmark headquarters here in Kansas City, would be to go to the Hallmark headquarters, and I'm sure they have a room of just their old wrapping paper and stuff, and I would love for them to just open the doors and say, take whatever you want. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but oh my God, that would be like my dream come true, because I know they have just stacks and stacks and stacks of old wrapping paper that they probably just have put away somewhere in some special room. I don't know. My husband and I, we like to go with our daughter and her husband and walk around Crown Center, which is the Hallmark complex and everything, and it's a shopping center and stuff, and it's downtown. But we like to, because it's like 3 or 4 buildings that are all kind of connected, and they're connected with these they're connected with tunnels, above ground tunnels, but we call them tubes. And so we like to go tubing and try to find secret rooms and, like go into the basement and stuff like that. Sure, places I'm sure you're not supposed to be. But yeah, we like to go exploring through those places. And one of these days, maybe I'll walk into the secret room of wrapping paper. That would just be awesome. Okay, so let me get back to this layout. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking some photos, and these photos are from a trip that my husband and my youngest son and I took back in 2012, in March of 2012. And we went out to the East Coast to see my parents, my dad, and then we drove to New York, to Niagara Falls, and visited my grandpa's childhood home. So this was on our trip to Niagara Falls. We stopped off and spent the night in Cleveland, Ohio. So we are down at the waterfront, and these are just some random pictures that I had taken that day. But the picture that's right there in the center, that's the one that this story is really about. So I noticed when we were taking pictures, because I loved to take pictures. I was doing Project Life at that time, so I just took pictures of everything. And I saw when we looked in the water that it was just this muck, like these plastic and wood and metal just floating. There was so much of it. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is just bizarre. And at first I was kind of grossed out. And then I was like, no, that actually is kind of cool, because the colors and everything. And I took a picture of it, not knowing what I was going to do with that picture. And I thought, okay, that was really a ridiculous thing to take a picture of. Anyway, took the picture and just left it sitting with my photos from that trip, and never did really do anything with them until my class at school. We did an investigation right before Christmas about plastics and plastics in the environment, and the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and things like that. And there was also a 60 Minutes documentary on CBS back in December about plastics. And anyway, it just tied in with the lesson. I didn't even plan it that way. It just happened to be televised the same time that I was doing this lesson on plastics, and we were learning about polymers and stuff. Anyway, as we were learning about plastics, I was reminded of that picture that I had taken when we went to Cleveland. And I was like, oh my gosh, I finally have a purpose for that picture, because it had just been sitting there, and that picture had just kind of been haunting me. I was just like, God, that is just so bizarre to have that much junk. Why don't they clean it up? Why is that stuff just floating in the water? And it just kind of stuck with me, and I never really quite understood it until we did this investigation on plastics. And now I get it. Now I know exactly why that stuff is there, and I get it now. And so as soon as I put the two things together, I was like, okay, I need to document this, because how foreshadowing was that I took that picture just thinking that it was just something weird, and I took that picture, and that it would come back later on, and it would be so significant, such a significant part of what I teach, and then such a significant part of just our lives. And just this year, I've always been a person that hates waste and things like that, and the environment really bothers me. I try not to think too much about it, because I can get really depressed about the environment. But just this year, not even really meaning to, my husband and I have really just cut back on our use of plastics and single-use plastics and things like that. And so it's just kind of cool how it's all coming full circle, and I really wanted to document that. So the things that I'm sticking on there now are like bread ties, bread sack ties. They're the little plastic clips. For whatever reason, I just always save those. I don't know why. I have a collection of them. They're just bizarre. And so I just always save them, and I've got a little stash of them. So I pulled those out. And then I had this little stamp that says, "Hello, my status is," and it was the perfect size to stamp on one of those little bread ties. So I stamped it on there in red ink, and then I'm going to go back and write on it here in just a second. So while I was digging through my stash of plastics, I found this cool button that I had gotten at a exhibit at the Nelson Atkins Art Museum here in Kansas City. And it was about, oh my gosh, I want to say it was about the World's Fair. I think it was an exhibit on World's Fair. Anyway, this button says, "I have seen the future," and I have hung on to that button forever too, because I've just been like, there's going to be a great time for me to use that button. I found it this morning and I was like, okay, this is the perfect time. And so I put it over on top of the letter that my student made for me, and because it kind of looked like that the drawing he made was talking, and so I'm kind of made a speech bubble out of the children's book page, and then I stuck the button that says, "I have seen the future." By the way, his drawing that he drew, that's a Pop-Tart. So my kids know that I'm obsessed with Pop-Tarts, and so my icon, whenever I get online and stuff with the kids, my icon is a Pop-Tart, and we use Pop-Tarts to talk about chemical changes and physical changes, and just Pop-Tart is a theme. And I get Pop-Tarts for Christmas, and so that was what he drew on the front, was a raspberry Pop-Tart. So I thought that was kind of cute. And so then I'm just pulling out some more of those plastic bread ties and sticking them down, and they actually stick really well with my tape runner that I have here. That Scotch ATV tape runner, or ATG, I think it is, ATG tape runner. It works so well, and the adhesive sticks to all kinds of stuff: wood, plastic, paper, metal. So it really sticks. Like when I put it on those plastic things, they are going to stay. So another thing I'm doing is using up, as always, I'm using up old letters from my scrapbooking days, because I have a lot of these alphabets, and I just refuse to throw any of them away. So how fitting is that I am piecing together letters for this layout about recycling. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. The H in the word who was a different letter, and I just manipulated it, and then I think I ran out of E's, of course, so I just had to make do with what I had left over. And then the 2 on 2012, the second 2, I had to make out of just remnants of that alphabet. And so I stuck those on, and now I'm going to go to the book text that I had. So the book was a Little Golden Book about Little Golden Book land, which I have a collection of those, and I absolutely love those. But this was one that had ripped pages, so it just became a cutter book. And this part that I pulled out was about Scuffy the tugboat, which I liked because it had to do with the water. But underneath the text said stuff about being on a treasure hunt. And I think the words say, "Not a single treasure in sight." And I just thought that was kind of cool because, yeah, it's, I'm using the term treasure loosely here, because I know those plastics and all that rubbish and trash, that's not treasure, but yet it goes back to the whole thing, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Perhaps we can find treasure in this trash, and that could help us with our problem of waste management and plastics in the environment. So now I'm just going to use the image from that page. I like the green and the blue, and I like how that water kind of has, the lines like it's swooping through the page. So I just write my text on there, And then I decided I needed to add something to tie all of this together. So I just went over and got some green paint and mixed up a little bit with some like some glitter paint. And now I'm just going to go through, and everything that is white space I'm going to paint with this this green paint. And this kind of brings everything together. It pulls the background together, and then it kind of lets the pictures, you know, stand out and do the talking. And as I'm doing this, I realized that I really like that on the left-hand side, the picture, the illustration of the children's book has like a water or a stream going through it. And so I'm actually, once I paint all this green, I'm going to go back and take some blue and kind of take that water and carry it through the right-hand side. And so you can kind of see I'm doing it here. And to me, it's just kind of cool because it ties everything together. At first, I put it like it was behind my picture of my plastic, but then I was like, wait a second, I don't want plastic to win out here. So I went back and I actually drew the water going over the plastic. And in my mind, that's just a small little piece of symbolism of, you know, I want water to prevail. I want us to, water to win out, not plastic win out. And so, yeah, so that's pretty much what I do in this layout. I have a little bit more journaling that I add to it, and I just stick inside this card from my kiddo. And then I take my leftover paint and I kind of added some color to what he had written to me on the card, which was the sweetest card ever in the history of the world. The last thing I'm going to do here is I decided to take some scraps of a security envelope and write down what I have been doing to help with this problem of plastics in the environment. And just a kind of reminder, you know, so that I can just always remember, hey, this is what I said I'm going to do. This is what I want to keep doing. And so then I just put it on the front page and add a little bit more washi tape, the same kind from the very beginning, kind of ties it all together. And then, yeah, I'm pretty much done here, and I like it, and it's messy and it's painty. But I'll be honest, guys, it has been forever since I've done any journaling. So the fact that this looks as good as it does, it kind of makes me happy because I was a little out of practice. I haven't been doing any journaling lately. I've been totally busy with life and everything else. So anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm planning on doing some more journaling process videos here pretty soon. We got a lot of snow over the weekend, so I'm kind of hoping for a snow day tomorrow. I hope you guys are healthy. Hope you guys are happy. I hope you're safe. And I will see you soon. Have a great rest of the day. Do something creative. Bye.